Welcome to Ravenloft, land of the mists, where evil hides beneath every bed, crawls from every shallow grave, and lurks within every shadow.
I'm your Game Master. Joining me tonight is the Paladin and Champion of Tamora, Horrocks Van Buzen. Welcome, Horrocks.
Thank you, Dungeon Master.
And we return to the land in Ravenloft's core known as Falkovnia. Horrocks has made his first foray within the city's walls in nearly 2 decades. To find that conditions hadn't changed much, certainly not for the better, having acquired the knowledge you sought and meeting with Tavelia's Kargat ally at a tavern, really nothing more than a basement, within the laborers' quarter called the Burrow. You were given directions. And also many warnings during your time there about the gear you were carrying, the gear you were wearing, your holy symbol. Seemed like there was a lot of concern focused on those things for you, and many warnings to get out of the city, or at least not be seen as you are by any of the Falkovnian soldiers by light of day. And I believe when we left off, you had said that you were going to retrieve the Beglitzi family, Alona being the first convert of Tamora that you have made during your trip here to Lekar, saving her from impalement, a certain death, and return to your companions with the understanding you were directed to meet with Hathrol and the rest of her group the following night, just after midnight. Does that sound accurate?
Yep.
All right. So with that, Horrocks.
But where to meet?
She gave you a tiny hand-drawn map that included the city and
Hathrol's map, I see.
Yep. I can throw that up here, I think. Probably. Maybe not.
I already pulled it up.
Okay.
Oh, but yeah, if you wanted to show on the recording, then yes, pull it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the right spot here. I believe it was in the Burrow.
Is it the chapel that we're meeting at?
Yeah, that would appear to be the location that she had intended. Apparently, there's 2 roads once you exit Lekar. The road really goes in 2 directions. This is quite obviously just a simple, hand-drawn map. It's not meant to be accurate, other than it indicates a 4-mile stone in the road that leads roughly southwest out of Lekar, and a chapel not far off the road to the east.
And the chapel is where we're to meet her.
Yeah, she had indicated yes. She wanted to meet you outside of the city walls. She had some concerns about.
That's good. I mean,
your safety and her safety. She had even stated to you that she had just killed a man that had been following her, and she described them. She said that these men that she called the Wounded Men. Apparently that's the name that they'd given to them, had been stalking them during their time in Lekar specifically.
there was some kind of marking on them, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, scars from impalement.
Oh, right.
And with that, she also had displayed you, I believe, a dagger that she said that she had taken off of the man that she had killed outside. It was an odd dagger. Its blade seemed to be made of like a green black crystal, quartz, or some similar material. She had asked you if you had seen one before. It didn't look familiar to you.
Interesting. She just described it, or I saw this
No,
dagger
she pulled it out and showed it to you and Donovan.
and asked me if I ever saw it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, did she indicate what the interest was? Why?
She seems curious as to who these individuals are and why they're following her and her companions.
Oh, and the dagger came from them, so she was just trying to find information on them, right? Okay. All right. That's cool. That's cool. Yes, very important to get this family out because that covers the whole someone came into town and did something weird with the impaled people. It'll automatically be blamed on the family when the family's missing and the people who were impaled are missing. They'll just assume the family came, took their loved ones, fled the city. Although that's, it is surprising for them to get out, get over. For instance, we almost sprung a trap, or an alarm rather, probably. Citizens probably have less of a chance than us adventurers at finding stuff like that. So while it covers the tracks, it's not 100% full. The eyebrows will still be raised, of course, but it's pretty solid if we get them out. And I'm hoping getting the baby happens at the chapel. So
to date, everything that the suspected vampire Tavalia has told you seems to be accurate.
Yeah, was not very precise with setting expectations. I can attest to that. But I haven't held it against her. Basically it comes down to this. I feel like I'm being manipulated by her, but it's like our only hope. We won't if this turns out to be a dead end with this, which I actually don't think it is. We have no hopes of recovering this child. So we are kind of blindly following suit because we have to. We have to hold out hope that we retrieve the child. It's always about the kids.
It's always about the kids.
It's always about the kids. I wish I could go one full session where I only speak in character. And I'm fine with my Batman impersonation. I'm not saying it's a good Batman impersonation. I'm just saying it's what I draw. It's the source I draw it from. Now that you have the camera running, I'll point out my Paladin's Handbook and my Fighter's Handbook, which is but old and has the rule written to reflect only fighters being able to, specialize. This is the old with either the typo or the pre-corrected version. I think the intention was always clear to us.
I'll give you $10 for it.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's one of my favorite second edition books. Then, of course, my player's handbook with the spine falling off. Look, you can see it shimmy.
Uh, you've got doubles of that, though, don't you?
Cha cha cha, cha cha cha, cha cha cha.
Yeah, mine's got scotch tape all over it.
I do. I have two pristine. I have two pristine books, but they're for like visitors. I will use this forever.
Yep, I will cherish all my
Because the pages aren't falling apart. It's just the spine. It doesn't matter. Once it falls off, I'll tape it, glue it, whatever you do. I'll get you to do it.
And mine even has. I paid $20 for it at the bookstore, and it's got the original sticker that I signed my name on when I bought this, fresh off the press, dude. So,
nerd.
I'm not a nerd. Okay. With that, Horrocks, you did in fact return to the Beglitzi household next to the tannery. The smell is awful. It's still clinged in your nose even until the time that you returned. And taking your time, and Donovan seeming a bit more focused than he had been initially entering the city, and much more careful, had gone along with you and Stanislaus, your only current companion, to the two of you, the traitor Falkovian Talon, and the group of you, including Alona's husband and two children, one of which is an infant, made your way back through the breach in Lekar's wall.
Oh, I don't have my headphones on. Do I need them? It sounds pretty good. Can we try it without it?
Yeah, sure.
We don't have a third person. I mean, that's probably safe. You sound good on my monitors. Music sounds good too. Although you can't beat headphones for the surround sound. Stereo, whatever. The present sound.
So,
is this on the outside of the wall already?
That's, the outside of the wall. You passed through the breach, the same entrance that you had come through originally, right in, and were careful enough, and actually Donovan, in the hopes of future, whoops, that's not what I meant to roll. Trips possibly through this, Donovan disabled the trap that you actually found on your way in.
Well, he should hook it back up, right?
He seems he's disabling it on your way out in case we he's like, in case we gotta come back, it won't be here. They won't notice.
Make a wisdom check. I think they're gonna notice.
Roll a d20.
Check.
You if things were possibly on the northern side, but here in the laborers' quarter, man, you're not impressed with the amount of patrols, especially here, considering it's a large enough breach that you could walk 8 men shoulder to shoulder through it. The guards seem particularly lax on this side of the city. You're not entirely convinced that Donovan's wrong, but he can reattach it if you tell him to.
No, I don't want to. I mean, I just made a pretty good wisdom check. I'd rather have fast, easy access if I think this is going to be okay. But so since I'm feeling pretty comfortable with the lax patrol action, can I see that ballista up there?
Oh yeah.
Does it look intact and oiled and stuff?
Yeah, it's maintained.
Oh, I gotta shoot that thing, dude.
And as there was when you entered, there are 2 guards on each of those towers, although now one of them you can actually see the back of his head, like he's sitting in a chair on the one side of the tower in.
They don't keep it loaded up, right? You don't keep the tension on that thing.
No, yeah. He's like one of these guards. Like they're still moving around, and you can. It's easier to see the guards on the southern tower as it's even more decrepit. There was a possibility that at some point there was some kind of a siege here or a siege weapon that maybe initially damaged the wall, but they haven't. For whatever reason, Vlad has not invested any money in repairing this fixture of the wall. And he did, Stanislaus had told you that this wasn't the only one, and his theory is that it's on the southern end of the city, and that, Vlad is preparing for war to the north, a war with Aslan. So he is channeling his funds in a different direction. So with that... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to comment that goes right along with my assumptions or plans. That's what I want. What's my experience with the load time on that, like the speed factor? What's the speed factor on that ballista?
With a 2 or 3 man team, it's 1 bolt every other round.
And how, like, if, okay, 1 bolt every other round. With a 3-man team.
Yeah, luckily it would take longer. One or two men to wind the drawstring, the bowstring back, and then another man to drop it in. That's the most proficient or economical way to operate that particular siege weapon.
Right.
You could one man could do it, but it would take minutes for him to draw the rope back and put the tension on the bow itself, and then carry and put essentially what amounts to a large spear inside of the fixture, and then aim and fire it. It would take some time, so it's a little bit more when you have a group of men operating that, or a catapult or anything, that would a little bit more feasible to have a group of men operating it. So
get its family back.
You did. You make your way back in the direction of the abandoned barn on the western side of Stanislaus's family's property. This barn had not been used in quite some time. And as you approach Horrocks, it doesn't seem that much has changed since you left just before nightfall. You are approaching this from the eastern side, or the right side of the map, your right. And just as you and this family, who actually did not slow you down too much moving along, Stanislaus and Donovan did their best to sort of provide rear coverage as you led this family, this very appreciative family. Did you say you were also going to carry their daughter? Or the deceased
daughter?
Yeah. They did wrap her as... in what you assume is intended to be a burial shroud for her. And even before you get to the set of doors on the side that you're approaching, calling quietly from atop, and then taking flight, a black silhouette, a large raven, flies and alights on your shoulder. And then curiously, you can see head cocked to either side, examining what you're carrying in your arms.
Ah, good baby. I'll stroke his little black feathers.
The cause do not seem to go unnoticed, as... a figure. Oh, you son of a gun.
Son of a bitch. Oh, where's my little earbuds? Damn it.
Son of a gun. As a figure opens the door, his spear leading his head out. You can see the tension in his neck releases. You splash essentially through the now melting snow and mud that's outside of this door. And as you do, Horrocks, roll a wisdom check. The lanterns inside expose what appears to be a rather large amount of blood splashed upon the door that Hrudlin opens.
What happened?
They followed us. They followed us from Zuchthaus. At least that's what I think. Soldiers. And he pushes the door open, and you can see he kind of curiously looks.
That's not good.
He curiously looks at the family as you pass by him and enter into the group. You can see, Horrocks, as you enter in, kneeling before three men whose hands are bound behind their back and rather thoroughly tied.
I'll say, why would you think it's they followed us all the way from Zuchthaus and that it's not a patrol from more of a local patrol? And I'll move over to where Lori is at the bodies and inspect them myself.
That's what I told him, Lori says as she looks over at you. It's nice to see you made it back safe. Where are the others? And who are these people? She says as you enter in. Oh, I gotta give you your little...
Our first converts to Tamora. And I'll introduce the Biglitzi family. And, like with great joy... And I need to take a moment with the mother and ask gently, but directly, I want to lay your daughter's remains to rest. Do you have a preference to how I do that?
This is someplace peaceful. This forest. I used to play here as a girl. This forest is nice. It's beautiful, and this is a spring. She loves the trees and flowers.
My next question may sound off-putting, but please hear me out. These lands, this earth, is tainted. Is there issue with a funeral pyre? Is that against your customs?
You can see she looks at her husband almost as if looking for him to chime in, and her husband turns and looks at you.
Should I make? I mean,
Matthias.
I want your.
You as he speaks, you're kind of remembering a little bit about you dealt mostly with soldiers during your time here in Falkovny. You weren't around the common folk as much as you spent with time with the Talons and Falkovnian soldiers. The people here in Lekar, Falkovny, the burial or a funeral pyre is a welcome change to the ends that most of us meet.
Well, then funeral pyre it is. I believe it's the only way to ensure the respect for your daughter's remains. It's the only way to ensure respectful handling. Once we turn to ash, then it's not risk of being mishandled. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll tell them. I'll bow my head. I'll say a prayer with them. Tamora, please give the Baglitzi family strength in this moment of loss. And after my prayer, I'll tell them I will prepare the funeral pyre, and then I will come and get you when the time has come. What time of day is it?
It's like 5 a.m. The sun is just starting
That's
to
perfect.
crease the horizon. Father Dominic walks over to you, puts his hand on your shoulder, and come here. There's a place for you to rest over here. I've cleaned up. There's some of the drier hay where you can lay with your baby and until things are ready. Come. And he leads the family over and away from the men that are tied up there right at your feet over in this direction. Donovan and Stanislaus join the rest of you over here. As Father Dominic is walking away, he turns and looks at you and says, Jennifer had the worst of it. She's feeling better, but... And he kind of motions with his chin over in the direction of Jennifer, who you can see is actually laying, she's sitting up, but she's in the back of this wagon over here.
Well, I have a dead little girl in my hands. I didn't just set her aside, so I kind of got to deal with that.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go start a fire. How big is this girl?
She's like 12, so only about she's less than 5 feet tall. A child, and thin as most of the Falkovnian commoners or laborers are. Most of them are malnourished. For you to carry her, she was light as a pillow for you to carry across. It certainly wasn't difficult for you. Some of the most of these bales, and Father Dominic points, most of these bales are wet. There may be some dry up closer to the top of the pile there. And there's some wood, and he points over in the other corner. There's some shattered empty crates and old barrels that are now dry.
Maybe we should... Can we move on from here? Is there another place that... maybe the farm proper maybe it's worth the risk. I don't know.
Stanislaus brings his hand up to his mouth. You look at these men. Oh, and I failed to mention. These men are also, you can see they have been blindfolded.
Oh, they're alive still.
Yeah, there's 3 men tied up and blindfolded on their knees. Stanislaus brings his hand up as if to ask you to be quiet about the proper farm and stuff. And then he motions to you to walk outside here. He walks past you and out the door here.
Well, I can't move my dude.
What?
Can't move my dude.
What'd you do?
Nothing. Everything's right on my end. You fucked it up. You fucked it up again.
There you go.
Again, you fucked it up.
Should be able to move it now.
Yeah, I can get behind this this whiskey.
It's obvious to you when you step outside the source of all the blood. Following you out is Hrudland.
Yes, I see.
Hrudland steps out along with the 2 of you. And Stanislaus, this presents a problem for us.
How so?
What do we do with them? And you did also get a look at their condition when you walked by. They were muddied, dirty. Face, you could see in the below their blindfolds, you could see several days worth of growth of beard.
Oh.
These men look like soldiers that have been either on the battlefield or traveling for some time. Probably where Lori got her, because of your good wisdom checks you've had there, where Lori got her thought. The soldiers this close to city, there's a lot high. If you are anywhere inside of the city of Lekar, you would be expected to keep your uniform up and yourself like a professional soldier. These guys look like they've been on the road, and they're talents. They're not common soldiers. These are the same men that you faced over and over again.
Is there any identifying marks on them? Well, I'll ask. I'm not looking, but I'll say, did you look for any identifying marks that would indicate that where these troops traveled from?
Stanislaus walks over to the pile, and there's not much light. You can see he rolls one man over, grabs another one by the leg, and drags him back, and then rolls him onto his back. You can see that he is horribly, almost eviscerated, no doubt with Hrulin's spear. Clearly, it's the work of his weapon that did this to this man, and I know this one. These men are from Zuktas. They no doubt tracked us from there.
Wow.
Perhaps they were on patrol during the times that Zuktas fell.
Did Donovan search them? Oh, Donovan was with me.
Lori did, Friedman says. And she tied them up and blindfolded them. These men...
Well, we can't burn all these bodies. I can burn this girl, but that won't be that big of a fire. But I don't know I really don't know what to do with the bodies.
My suggestion is we drag these men back into the barn with the prisoners, and after praying over the girl, we burn the entire barn.
Oh.
Stanislaus looks at you very matter of fact. No malice in his face. Very pragmatic, like a soldier would think.
Well, you would have to execute the soldiers, not burning soldiers alive. That's ridiculous. I hope that's what you meant. I'll look at him, I'll say, I hope that's what you meant. You're not a sadistic fuck, are you, Stanislaus?
It should be my responsibility to put the blade to these men. I'm not looking to see them suffer, but I fear what suffering they could bring to my family should they lead them back here.
I want to speak to them, though, so hold on. One thing at a time, but yes, you're right. All this is appropriate. Everything you're saying seems appropriate. Let me go deal with this daughter. And I'll grab some kindling and my flint and tinder, stoke a little fire, throw a bunch of sticks on it. While that's starting to smoke up, I'll go grab... There must be some limbs out here.
There's plenty of wood inside the barn itself. Old crates and barrels, all made of wood, all ample kindling and firewood. And Donovan also hands you 2 containers, 2 small jars of lamp oil.
Yeah, it won't even need all that. Little bit of that lamp oil, get this thing going right. So, it won't even take me that long. I'll break a couple of these, maybe even the barrel. I'll break it down so there's like it holds the body kind of. And take the other half of the barrel and put that underneath. Get that fire stoking. And then I'll pick the daughter back up, walk in, tell the mother it's ready. I mean, that'll take a good 15 minutes probably, at least. And that's if the fire thing goes well. So, yeah, when the fire's ready, go get the lady, and then she can watch me place her daughter on there, and we can say a prayer to Tamora and move on with our lives as best we can.
You come back over when you return inside the barn. You can see that Jennifer is up off of the wagon, and you can see that she's limping again. She has a nagging injury to her leg that's been bothering her for almost as long as you've known her. She is over with Father Dominic as you walk back inside, having prepped a funeral pyre, a makeshift funeral pyre for this tiny child. And the older woman hands the baby to Jennifer, and the father hands their boy's hand off to her as well. I'll stay with the children. She turns and looks at you. The mother comes up, Horrocks, and falls into your arms, sobbing.
I'll just, I'll say something consoling like, yes, I know, I have lost a child. I have lost children myself, madame. But it's not about me, though. I'm just saying, I know your pain. I know this pain.
Your goddess,
There are no right words. I'm sorry.
Your goddess will help her find peace. Save her the way she saved me.
Here, I can't find the right words, so let me roll a charisma check.
Do it. Nice.
Made it by the skin of my teeth.
She clearly in the short, she recognizes what you and the goddess Tamora have done for her, and she asks, "This Tamora, she will give her peace, save her as she has saved me." Letting her soul pass on is what you think she's talking about.
I think so.
She will pray over her.
Yes. I'm still holding the child, so I'll walk over. Is the fire all like blazing now? Like, is the fire?
Well, I'm assuming, did you build the fire outside or inside here?
Outside.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. When you step back out, you can see that it has caught. The rest of the group is kind of is sort of taking is standing back a little bit. Father Dominic joins you and Fruitland. Lori, Donovan, and Stanislaus stand back inside the barn itself as you walk with the family, leading them out to the fire that you started. And say a prayer over. How do you want to do it?
Yes. Tamora, accept this soul and allow us to bring some peace to the Baglitzi family. This girl did not deserve this end. But we will use her memory to stoke the fire of our fight against the evil in this land. And fight we will. And I'll say, we ask Tamora. And I'll like give a little hand signal like for Hrudlin to repeat that one line at the end. And maybe Donovan will too.
You can hear them speaking from behind, giving you, Fruitland, and Father Dominic your place there. Dominic stands with his arm around the husband. The mother chooses to find comfort next to you as you place her daughter's body in the fire.
Do it. Yep.
You can feel the heat as you lean into this, laying her as gently and as properly as you can atop the wood that is now really starting to catch. You can feel that almost singe your face as you lean back away from it. Her mother, Alona, never lets go of your cloak, and immediately upon stepping back, she again embraces you. Please, Tomosis, you would save her. My daughter, she's such a good girl. Save her, please. You can see she pleads and begs with the goddess Tamora to bring peace to her daughter as you stand before the pyre. You can see also Fruitland prays along with you as this occurs. And it would appear after about 10 minutes of standing, Father Dominic also steps up, walking away from the father, and performs what you recognize as a funeral rite, essentially, one that he must have been taught at some point in time, and steps away, drawing the circular symbol in the air with his hand before he does over the pile of ash, wood, and fire. And by the time you're finished, the sun has risen in the sky, and it is a clear day. You can see already, much like last night when the sun or the moon and stars provided you light within the dim city walls, the area around you brightens. Much of the snow is melting off. You can see puddles of mud, and now around the doorways, blood mixed with the now melting snow. Feels like spring as you stride back towards the barn. Join the rest of your companions.
I'll hold hands. I'll hold the hands of the parents. And when we get back in to the barn, I'll approach. If the parents still need me to hold their hands, I'll hold their hands all the way up to Jennifer and go, now I got to check on Jennifer. So that...
She's standing. You can see that she's bandaged both her leg, her forever wounded left leg, as well as you can see that she got a pretty horrible sword slice. It actually rended her shirt and cape on one shoulder. One of the talons got close enough to nearly kill her. He actually hit her with a natural 20. But Father Dominic has worked some of his healing magic on her, and she is stable at this point.
Okay.
With that, Donovan says...
What's with her leg, though? She has a permanent disfigurement or something at this point?
She's been bad. She was badly wounded, I believe, when you guys were attacked by, I think it was werewolves. She was horribly wounded in that.
She never recovered from that?
Never fully. She seems to always be a little gimped up as she walks. She'd get around, but she's always, much with your own experience, as you get older, those injuries, those nagging injuries that never seem to completely heal.
That's hot, though. I love it when they're wounded.
So she stays with the family and the boy and the girl, and quickly tries to sort of shoo you away, like, I'm fine, Horrocks. I appreciate your concern. Fruitland and Father Dominic took care of me. I know that you have something to discuss. I can see Laurie's been tense since the attack. I'll mind the family. Come, Alona, sit. Rest. We're going to be traveling again, I'm sure, soon. You're going to need to rest. Here's some food. And you can see she's already, through her own pack, has brought out rations and offers both food and water to the family as they try and get as comfortable as they can. And they sort of console one another as well. As soon as you get in there, the Alona goes right back to her husband, Matthias, and the family along with the infant and the young son, all sort of gather over with Jennifer. And Father Dominic walks over as well. I know you see to the other matters, Horrocks. You can rest assured I'll stay with the family in their time of grief.
Well, I'll let them know that. Yeah, I'll stand up briefly and excuse myself to talk to Brother Dominic alone, or just at least lower my voice and talk close to his head and tell him that I think I need to go back into the city for the sole purpose of, after we visit the church, that is, monster hunting. I think one of the locals told me that there's a problem in the city.
I believe that was always our intention, was to help these folk, just as we did in
Well,
Valakai.
You're right, but I gotta be honest. As it's not a matter of being honest, I'm realizing that the importance when we receive that child, we can't continue adventuring. We have to get the child back to Mordenshire. So it's a matter of when do we do what, and maybe it's a matter of that I stay here, maybe with one other person, and the group gets the child safely back. I don't even know. I think I have to escort the child myself. I don't know, but this is what I'm wrestling with.
I've spoken to the girls in private,
and
about my concerns about Donovan making the trip alone. I know we've discussed...
not alone.
Well, I know that you and I had discussed our concerns about the girls traveling along with us or staying here in Falkovnia, and I think that is justified. I would encourage them, perhaps, to accompany Donovan. If you would be kind enough to maybe lend them Taish, they could make the journey quickly. Perhaps Rudlin could go. If it's all the same to you, Horrocks.
Yes.
I pray.
No, that's exactly what has to happen. I'll stay with Stanislaus and maybe Brother Dominic.
I wish to stay. I feel the same call to these people as I did to those in Valakai. I want to be there for. I want to be there for the things I missed.
And frankly, Donovan is the child's father. I think it becomes more important for me to stay and help these people at this point. I think Donovan, with assistance, can get the child back. And yes, they can take Taish and should take Taish.
You found word of the child?
Yes, I think. At the same time, I don't want to get my hopes up, but it's my only hope. So yes, there's a place I have to meet tomorrow to find, hopefully, get the child. Or is that tonight? That's tonight, midnight, right?
Well, yeah, it's after midnight, so technically it's tomorrow, but yeah, it's tonight.
So that's the deal. Me. So wait, who's talking? Who's talking to me now? Is everyone?
Just Brother Dominic. You two, you sort of stepped outside to talk there.
Right. So good. I'll shake his hand.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to stay here with you. I know.
I just hope I'm doing the right thing.
As much as I'd like to get to see the children in Mordenshire again, I missed much of the work that you did in Valakai, and I don't want to miss an opportunity to see you reap the same.
I'll stop him. I'm going to stop him. I'm going to put my hand on his chest and say, "Sir, this is not a welcome opportunity. we are in great peril here. I don't want to mislead you with my enthusiasm and my confidence. I am enthusiastic and I am confident, but at the same time, I'm not as sure of myself when it comes to considering the survival rate of my companions. And it's by no light, I consider it no light matter keeping you along here. But I think it's for the... You're right. I'm doing the same type of work I did in Valakai, and it is right that you should be here. And I'm glad you feel that way, because that's exactly what's happening. And I think we're off to... Again, I don't want to get my hopes up too high, but we are off. Without a doubt, we can say factually we are off to we could not have had a better start. I think Tamora has found a way to shine. My tether to Tamora has found a way to shine through and connect, and I believe she is present with us. We've definitely been lucky.
Even with the veil that has clouded our connection with her, I have no doubt that she leads her champions every footstep. She'll see to it that...
That's just a... yes, it impacts how powerful my spells are, but...
And mine, I'm afraid.
That's just meant to break us, and it won't. With our dying breaths, we will do this work. But that's how we want it, I suppose, right, Brother Dominic?
I would have it no other way.
I'll give him the best bro handshake I can muster, and give him a firm nod and turn, go back in, and now question these dudes.
Dominic returns to the family, and Jennifer and the rest of your group, minus Stanislaus, who kind of sits, you can see he sort of stepped back. You, Lori, Donovan, and Hrudlin kind of surround these men. Lori looks at you. None of them has said anything. Not that they've had much chance, and you can see that she, in addition to blindfolding them, you can also see with whatever fabric she used to blindfold them, she's also stuffed small bits of it in their mouth. But it's obvious to you that all three of these men are conscious, and they do move a bit. They're now sitting on their heels, essentially, in the kneeling position. Hrudlin looks over at you, and he says... these men sought to murder us in our sleep.
Well, of course they did. It's their job. I'll say I once commanded men like you.
Do you want to ungag them, or one of them, or all three of them?
Yeah. I'll say that as I'm pulling down the gag. So this is where I ask you to tell me everything you know, and you admit that Vlad is a tyrannical leader and not worth your lives, and some such nonsense.
One of the men you see gets the hint of a smile on one end of his mouth.
I'll roll a charisma check because I am trying to
Yeah, you're interrogating them. I get where you're going, so yeah, definitely should roll a charisma check.
All right. It's a good one. It's a check. 8. I've never been where you three soldiers are right now. And my guess is you haven't been in this position previous to now either. I would suggest that you put all of your preconceived notions of how you would handle this situation aside. They're not going to help you. You need to think on your toes and understand the situation for what it is.
The man in the middle raises his head. He's blindfolded, so he's just speaking like in the direction of your voice. You'll see the end of a spike. You'll see the end of a spike. The man to his left looks in his direction and then kind of moves a bit, like shuffles a little on his feet. He looks uncomfortable, not just in his position, but he starts to breathe a little heavier.
That may be so, but that doesn't change what is happening right now, which confirms exactly the point of what I was saying. The fact that I might die on a pike helps no one in this situation.
What is it you want from us? The man to his left. You can see his head, the guy in the middle that's been talking, his head snaps to the right and looks in the direction of the voice. Silence.
What, the guy in the middle is being...
He seems to be a leader of some kind, or at least the alpha out of the group of men. He's the only one that's directly responded to you. The man to his right, your left, is the second one, and he's the one that sort of is fidgeting about at the sound of your statement. Silent.
I'll put his gag back on his mouth. That middle guy.
He coughs a bit as you stuff it in with your gauntleted hand.
And as I'm doing that, there's nothing against my paladinhood about executing this man, right? Like,
this is war, dude.
I think I can save the other. If I think I can save the other two by forfeiting this guy, I think that's a well thought out plan in my book.
Yeah, in a time of this is war, dude. You know, this isn't. And these men are clearly, you know, in addition to being soldiers, they're also sort of assassins. And you saw the horrible things that were done in Zuchthaus. These men are in some way responsible for that stuff.
Yeah. So as I'm putting with one gauntleted hand, putting the gag back on him, I'll very matter-of-factly, but casually draw my sword, and when I'm close to him, I will put it in exactly the spot that would end his life the quickest, like right through his heart, as I'm like leaning away from him, and just, you know, do it. And I'll say to the other two, as I gently let his body slump back, I'll say, you don't have to worry about his persuasion anymore. Let's think on our toes.
You can see that the two men, they're blindfolded, but you can see that they clearly, when they hear that, he dies quickly, Horrocks. Your sword, keen edge sliding between his ribs, and the man suffers for no more than a few seconds before he slumps, and you gently allow him to lie down. You can see the other two men react with pretty much the reaction you would think. Fear is obvious, especially on the man to your left. This man here. The other man, though, you can see straightens his back and kind of raises his head. What is it you wish to know? What do you want to know? The man to your right stays silent.
I'll take the guy who is panicked. I'll take off his blindfold.
You pull his blindfold off, and you can see his face speckled in blood, probably not his. And you can see he looks down at the Falkovnian talon that lies next to him, now obviously bleeding out onto the floor of this barn, dead. And he looks over at the other talon in a panic.
I'll tell him. I was once a commanding officer in the Falkovnian army. I have returned for very good reasons. In fact, my goals are aligned with your leader, Vlad. His intentions to wage war with Azalin. This is precisely my goal. So I have returned to command forces to that end. I will need soldiers. If there's any way we can determine that you can be useful, you could take solace in knowing that you would still be serving your army, albeit in a much different capacity. And if you think about it, think about your strategy studies. How old are these guys? Are they super young? Oh no,
They're talents. You would guess that they're probably between 25 and 30 summers old.
The element of surprise in war should never be underestimated. And wouldn't it be quite the surprise if General Horrocks van Buzen returned to lead the army of Vladrakov? Now that would be a turn of events that could be quite surprising.
You mention your name, Horrocks, and you see his eyes snap back away from the dead body and away from his still blindfolded companion, or the other soldier, to your eyes when you say your name. And then for an instant, he looks past you. He's not looking at you right now. It looks like he's looking at Stanislaus, who's still sitting on his arms crossed, seated on the wagon just behind you. I was following orders. They told us. I said it was a fool's mission to go after you. After what had happened in Zuchthaus. It's you. You.
How many groups like yours were sent to look for us?
We weren't sent. He commanded us, and you can see he looks down at the dead body. So we returned shortly after to find the ruins of Zuchthaus. All the other soldiers dead. There was a larger group of us. They went out. They sent several groups. Stefan, and you can see he looks at the man that's dead, said that he couldn't stand by and wait, that there was nothing to protect at Zuchthaus, that we should go after you.
Wait, I'm going to interrupt him. I'm going to hold up my hand. I need you to calm down. Is there a way? We need to talk like soldiers. That's right. Good.
They sent out other groups. There was more of us. 18 men. The first two groups went out. Stefan initially wanted to wait at Zuchthaus for reinforcements to arrive.
How long would that take?
Too long for him. A short time after the other groups went out in search of you, we went as well. We found them, dead, along with the Griffins. But it was obvious that it wasn't the Griffins that it wasn't them that had killed the Griffins. It was then I told Stefan that we should turn around and return to Zuchthaus, allow you to flee. He insisted to push forward. His brother was one of the Falkovnians that died at the house, the cabin in the wood. And your head goes back to the cabin that was haunted by the spirit of a mother and daughter and the dead Falkovnian soldiers that were there.
Well, there'll be no sense in going back to Zuchthaus as it is destroyed. Right?
That is what Stefan said. So we pushed on. He was an excellent tracker. He followed, even though it was obvious that you had tried to cover your trail, he was able to follow it. Your horse leads deep prints. We stumbled upon the barn. We saw some movement. We waited until nightfall. Several of you had left. We thought it would be the best opportunity to attack.
What's your name, sir?
I am Reiner.
What is it?
Reiner.
Reiner.
Saint Reiner.
You will die. You will die as well, Reiner. You hear the other man say, the other soldier, he is going to kill you.
No, he isn't, Bjorn. There's another soldier here. I think it's Stanislaus.
And then I'll take off the other guy's blindfold. Let's give him a shot. Let's see if he can do it. I'll let him see Stanislaus. I'll let him see his buddy who's already got his blindfold off, who's not dead. See if he can change his posture at all. And I'll give him the good talk.
He looks at you. Is my choice to die at the end of one of Vlad's stakes or at the edge of your sword? Please just do it now.
And you can see as he says that, he spits on the ground in the direction of Stanislaus.
I'll just motion to Stanislaus, come get him.
Stanislaus immediately gets up, draws his sword, walks up.
Oh, take him outside. I'll just point outside. Take him outside.
He grabs him by his shoulder and rises him back up, cutting the length of rope between his feet to allow him to stand, and pulls him, and he sort of staggers clumsily as he pulls him outside.
I'll turn to Reiner. I'll be like, "You're a real survivor, Reiner." Look at you. Look at you go, Reiner.
If you let me go, I swear, I have family.
No, I'm not letting you go. What do you mean?
I
said I wanted you to be useful.
What do you wish to know? I've traveled a long time with the Talons. I've seen much of Falkovnia.
I don't know. But we certainly have time to figure it out. You know these areas, Reiner?
I do.
That's good.
I'm not from here, though. I'm from Stalingrad, to the north, on the border with Darkhan.
You've spent time on the border of Darkhan?
Yes, as my father, I wished to be like him, but he was a much stronger man than I. I barely made it into the Talons. I think it was on my father's name. He fought alongside you and General Gondogol on the northern border nearly 2 decades ago.
Wow. Reiner, you're just full of surprises. I'd like to hear about your experiences up north, so...
With that, you hear come from outside.
God. Can't he do a little better than that?
You see Reiner like looks towards the door that can't see what's going on, and then looks back at you.
My DM's a murder hobo.
I will help you in any way I can. You have shown me mercy, more mercy than either of my comrades would have, and you have shown Stanislaus mercy. Who's here?
I've shown more than mercy. I want you to understand that there are greater powers at play here. I am only here at the will of the goddess Tamora. The goddess Tamora's hand is at play. And that is a better fate. Looking at the hands of the goddess Tamora is a much better life to live than looking at the dealings of any of these rulers. That is the only way to live. That's the only way to survive. I hope in time you come to see that.
Yes, I will see. You will see.
Well, congratulations on making it this far, Reiner. I'll let him stew in his and I'll look him over. I assume they searched him. I'll give him a quick search.
He's been stripped of his armor and his weapons.
Okay.
It looks like before he was tied up. You hear as he says his final statement. You hear from over your left shoulder a woman's voice. It's Jennifer. He's telling the truth. He turns and looks at Jennifer.
I know. I'll look over at like I'm Vinny Barbarino. I know. Sorry.
All right. So now the matter is, what do we do moving forward? We could use some rest. Jennifer looks like she could probably use some rest. I'm sure Dominic needs to pray if your sleep was interrupted last night. We have a busy night ahead of us.
Reiner's going to watch me take first watch while I sleep. Can you handle that as your first assignment, Reiner?
Yes, sir. I will take first watch.
All right. Now who's going to watch Reiner watch me?
I got enough sleep last night, Lori says. You should get some rest. I'll keep an eye on our new friend.
Where can I go that makes sense? In this cart? or
Yeah, you can see that they've cleared out a couple of spots where the group's bedrolls were down, mostly on the side over here by the hay and the cart. You can see that several of the bedrolls are laid out around that area over there. Donovan puts his hand on your shoulder and thanks you again. Thank you. I'm anxious for tonight. Let's get some rest.
Thank you. I can't believe... I feel just as lucky as Reiner right now. I can't believe any of us have made it this far. We're making great progress here. Although I am a little put off by staying here much longer. Where would we go?
Yeah.
While I'm talking, I'm gonna be laying down, getting ready to pass out. But that's what I want to discuss as I'm like passing out. We have to move.
Stanislaus speaks up. Probably it would be best to leave after the sun is setting, and burns this place along with the evidence out front.
Well, that'll just draw attention to the site. I think we'll steal more time if we just let it be. Drag the bodies out into the bushes and hope the whole place gets overlooked. I think that's a better plan. We'll have a gigantic fire, be a beacon. We'll definitely investigate then. It might take 2 more days before they realize that these people aren't where they're supposed to be. 2 days is a lot. 2 days could be the time. You could be out of Falkovnia, and I could be embedded in the city in 2 days. And they find this place, and it wouldn't matter.
Yes, you're right. I'm anxious.
Oh, I understand. We definitely have reason to be anxious, but think of the progress we've made already. Saving the Buglitsi woman, this is fortuitous to say the least.
The more time I spend with you, the more time I am convinced that this goddess is truly guiding your every step. Praise be to the goddess Tamora. Hopefully she will continue to protect us as we move forward.
Good job, Stanislaus.
He walks over to Reiner and puts his hand on his shoulder. You are safe as long as you are true to your words. I'm evidence of this. These folk, they are not murderers. What happened at Zuktas needed to happen. He shakes his head, kind of nods, almost in embarrassment. And you get to drift off to sleep.
Sleepy. I'm going in the cart.
All right. You can see Jennifer and Father Dominic choose to stay close with the family. Lori takes a watch. Hrudlin just sits on his bedroll, seems to be intent on watching.
Hrudlin, rub my feet.
Like
Get the little one. Get the little one.
Ugh, your old buniony feet.
No way, dude.
Works is
I'm like free from defects and diseases.
Your feet are like flat, like Fred Flintstones.
Big old knobby things.
Bulbous big toe, like a light bulb. All right, so you're gonna get some sleep. You are lulled to sleep by the heavy sound of Taisha's breathing inside. Just across over by the barrels there is where Taish has been standing along.
Oh no! Bring Taish over with me to sleep. I got to spend one last night with Taish.
So, so you're going to rest, and you also have to consider how you're going to approach tonight's adventure. So, I got to take a 2-minute bio break, and then we'll jump back in. All right, Horrocks. Feels good to get some rest. You and all of your companions, even broken sleep is sleep, and you find some comfort in knowing that your companions are watching your back. And the rest goes fast. Your prayers are comforting at the end of your rest, and you spend some time brushing and feeding Taish, Belasco, keeping Taish company throughout the day, and watching over the group of you flying in and out of an open hay door above you in the half loft that covers the eastern side of this barn. And finally, a little after 2 bells, the group is all awake. Jennifer seems to be getting along a little bit better, and the Beglitzi family looks like, for as much as they've been through in the past 2 days, some of the color has returned to their gaunt features. They have feasted on rations that were generously provided by your group, and seem to have feel comfortable with you and your companions, safe after what they've seen. So with that, the group of you come together. Everybody's rested, slept, memorized, and prayed. And the group of you sit in this barn. One of the doors at each end open, and lanterns burning to give a little bit of light. Hrudland stands at one of the doors, looking out into the field. Lori opposite him, sleeping over had slept near Stanislaus, was Reiner. The group of you kind of come together, the family sort of sitting off by themselves, gorging themselves now on the soldiers' rations that you guys essentially collected. And you're given an opportunity to decide. It's first Donovan, so how are we going to do this? I think we should be prepared for the worst. I'm not thrilled about the idea of taking this family into this meeting.
We don't have another choice. They're defenseless by themselves. They're under our charge now.
Perhaps we go again as another small group, as we did you last night. It's a place, this chapel, it's not far from here. I've never seen it, but, most of the chapels were raised decades ago. So I've never seen this structure itself, but I'm familiar with the markers on the road there. I'm sure we wouldn't even need to take the roads to find it. I could get us there. You see, Brother Dominic looks over, and he looks back at you. I do fear for the children. An infant, that young boy. If you wanted, I could stay here with them. If you think we'll be safe.
I don't think it's safe here. I think we need to move away from this place.
There are places on my uncle's properties that would be suitable for a short time for you. And he points at Dominic and the family to hide.
Where's that?
There's a stream and a small nook. I fished there as a child, hidden by rocks and tall trees. Yes,
that sounds like the place. Let's do that. As soon as Stanislaus says it's the safest time to do it, that's where we're going to move to.
So then the question is who will be accompanying you? I will. You hear Donovan speaks up.
Well, you mean to the chapel? Yeah, Donovan.
I'd like to go, Rudlin says. So would I. You hear Lori, and then you're looking around and you can see everybody but Dominic is kind of just like, they're all like, well, if someone has to stay back with Brother Dominic, I would volunteer to do that. My leg's been giving me no end of irritation. Jennifer.
Is there anything I can do for her? Can I cure disease on her? Do you think that would help?
You have the same injuries, no matter how many times Father Dominic has laid his hands and channeled Tamora's energies into you. Your shoulder, your knee, your hand energies.
No way. I'm imperfect. I'm shipshape.
You're almost frightened to think what you would be like if you hadn't been gifted this new body halfway through your life. You and Donovan have an advantage over the rest of this group.
Yeah. All right, so that's the plan.
Good. This is time to move will be soon. Oh, and Reiner, what would you like him to do? Should they stay with the others or come with us? I can prove myself.
He's your responsibility, Stanislaus.
This is good. I will prove myself. I've been shaken. I've not had sleep in days.
I'll look at them both, though. I'll stop them and I'll say, the first sign of a problem from Reiner, that we're going to have to cut him loose. And I'll right in front of Reiner. And I'll turn to Reiner and I'll say, don't give Stanislaus even the hint of a shadow. Don't give him the shadow of a hint of a thought that you have anything but our best interests in mind. Live moment to moment. We're your new protectors. Protect us.
Yes, sir. Yes, Sergeant, I will not disappoint you. And you can see he stands and like claps his heels together, stands up straight. He does seem a little less rattled now.
And don't do that heel clicky thing anymore. That's fucked up. We'll have none of that. These people are upset enough. They don't need to see that Falconian bullshit.
You can see that unlike Stanislaus, he's still got that mindset. Stanislaus has quickly gone away from the military habits that this man is still. It seemed like it was easy for him to leave that part of him behind. And it had become nothing more than a mercenary in your employ, so to speak. So, about 2 hours later, after everyone's had their fill, quiet conversation has filled the barn. Father Dominic has spent a great deal of time preaching, speaking to the family, educating them in as simple way as possible as to the blessings of the goddess Tamora, following suit to what you had done with them. Rudlin seems to pay special attention to this, as he is pretty well read in Tamora's rituals, and also in a couple of moments of sort of that you haven't seen from him before. He does join in with Father Dominic and has his more softer, sort of youthful altar boy sort of side comes out as he talks to them, even taking some time to hold the young baby. And finally, Stanislaus comes in from outside, accompanied at his right by Reiner. The time is good. We will be able to leave now. The sun should be completely set within the hour. We can cover most of that distance, get to the spot where we will be able to leave the family.
I'll help the Biglitzis to their feet.
All right. And you do that, Horrocks. And you exit the barn, having, as the family exits, Donovan, Lori, and Reiner and Stanislaus begin the process of dragging all of these bodies that are now piled up outside of the barn here, back inside of it, and closing up the doors tightly. Father Dominic stops to pray once more over the ashes, bone, and burnt wood of from last night's burning, and prays for the girl's soul to move on and join Tamora. And you will move out. Anything else you wanted to do there?
I don't think so.
Okay. So as you leave, now you know you were essentially in this area right here, Horrocks, right on the edge of a thicker patch of wood right there. When you step out, Stanislaus says, the place that I speak of is actually in the different directions and the way we will be going, but I do think that it is the safest place for the family and Dominic and Jennifer. Shouldn't take us too far out of our way.
Excellent.
And it's clear to you that he must have known a lot of the woods around here, or wandered them as a boy at his uncle's and aunt's farm, as he leads you pretty much in a straight line. He leads the group beside you, and Reiner and Hrudlin just behind the group of you. The rest of you on your toes, I'm guessing.
Oh, yes, keeping our wits about us, being the responsible protectors we are. I'll take the lead. Hrudlin can take the rear.
Stanislaus quite clearly is avoiding roads or any kind of common thoroughfares through the woods. You actually he doesn't even seem to be following game trails. Like, he seems to be like just cross country, going through the woods as if he knows exactly in the direction and avoiding any kind of opening. And he does in fact lead you kind of away from where you want to go, because you can see on the map here where the two roads. So the chapel itself would be, kind of in this area here. He sort of leads you more off into this area, away, but that seems to be where he wants to go, or where he told you this place was. And in fact, he does bring you just as the sun has set, and it's again, you're blessed with another star-filled sky. So many, in fact, that you could spend a lifetime trying to count them all. The moon is nearly full and also provides ample light for you to move around without any assistance from lanterns. And you're taking your time. Stanislaus doesn't seem rushed, and the family does, kind of slow you a bit. But Stanislaus seems content with the pace that you're keeping. And you reach a spot where a stream, you come upon a stream. Stanislaus moves towards the east. As soon as you come upon it, it sort of runs almost northwest to southeast, and he crosses the stream and sort of follows it along the side. The only evidence of life you see throughout your trek is several deer that flee in a panic, their white tails flashing like white flags of surrender as they charge off in between the bare trees. You are not, these trees, unlike the centuries of death, the bare ashen trees that you would pass through, have some life, and spring has sprung. You can see the first leaves have started to fill the branches, and some green has returned to the forest floor, and moss about the stream, which is in some places only 3 feet across. But it has exposed rocks, and you follow this down to where you can hear rushing water. At least that's what it sounds like at first. And then you realize it's a small waterfall. that dumps into a larger area that's filled, sort of like filling, like the size of a small pond, probably 20 feet across, before narrowing again at its southern end and becoming a stream once more. You can see why Stanislaus picked this place. There's ample cover, not just from the tall, thick trees that surround this little cove, but the rocks about it. You can see that they almost, where the waterfall, this about a 6 to 8 foot waterfall that drips down from where the stream you've been following, the rocks actually provide like a really, almost a cave-like nook. And there's areas just around on either side of the stream there where even Taish could find footing and remain out of sight. You couldn't see this place until you were in it, essentially. It was like a hidden little spot. And Stanislaus looks at you. This is the place. Will it suffice?
Nice spot.
It's pretty much exactly as he described. So, you take some time putting things down, setting up the family along with Taish. Donovan does take the time to ask you, like, what are we going to do with these folk? Are they going to be leaving with me?
No, they have to stay here. That's all I know. I haven't figured the rest out yet, but I know that much. They belong here. They're part of our success. They're our first converts. They're the ones that bear witness. They're our best hope at turning others to support us. But I'm going to have to sneak them in, and they're going to have to be kept like underground.
You going to be able to find someone to help you do that? Who are you thinking?
I met this really cool guy named Ludzig.
Yeah, I remember him. I'm sure he'd be more than willing to put a roof over their heads.
No, I'll be a folk hero when I return this woman. And then the townsfolk know that she's being kept, secretly.
Well,
it's going to work.
Well, it seems at least the first part of your legend has already arrived within the walls of Lekar. If word of Zuktaus falling has happened.
Yeah. It is pretty momentous. Usually I don't give too much credence to stories like that, but in this instance, I gotta say, it's true. These are some truly heroic things. I want to remain humble, and I want to retain my humility, but at the same time, I need to recognize our triumphs. This is certainly one of them. This is another one. We're already in another triumph, saving this woman in this,
turning soldiers, creating faith.
Yeah, this is going really well. I hope, I've been hitting the right markers and making the right rolls, though, so it could go south. Everyone knows it can go south at any time, but we got to take, what are we going to do? Just got to keep going. My point to Reiner is that, you can meet your demise at any time in this world. Why not why not invest in what's your best interest right now and work towards something good with the rest, with the minutes you have left. It's just minutes. You can count them. You can actually count the minutes we have left.
Yeah,
I'll tell.
That number's always shrinking. Roll a wisdom check.
Wisdom check coming up. Checked it. Oh wait, yep, checked it. Look, I got my scores all up here, right in the fucking character sheet. Do you know that?
Perfect. That's
yeah,
awesome.
It's looking good.
Yeah,
I didn't roll off the thing. Damn it! I made it though.
You made it. Might not want
I do like rolling off the
sheet. So you, as you're talking to Donovan about this, you look over at Reiner, who's seated next to Stanislaus, and you can see that they're talking, like having a quiet conversation, sitting on a rock not far from where you guys are setting up camp. And your head goes back to your time 2 decades ago when you fought by Gondagal's side, and you knew that there were 2 types of soldiers in Vlad's army. Hardened soldiers that served Vlad without question, to the point that they were willing to die amidst the claws of an army of horrible undead monsters, and that took their sworn oath of allegiance very literally, and those that served Vlad out of fear. And they were sometimes easy to distinguish for you amongst the troops that you oversaw. For fear for them, for their family, for fear of ending up on a pike somewhere. And you can't help but get the feeling that Reiner falls into the second category. Not just
That's a good point. Ask Reiner where his family's at. Any soldiers that we take on, we should strive to go extract their families.
My father, he died on the northern border during the Dead Man's Crusade, the war, the Dead Man's War.
Under Gondagal and my leadership, correct? Is that what you said?
Yes. My mother and brother.
I'm sorry for that. I'll apologize.
My father was a brave man. He fought back. He assisted in fighting back the tide, the hordes of undead that tried to breach the border. Stalingrad would have fallen first, and it's right on the border. Stalingrad, as you can see on the map. My mother and brother, they still live there. He is a tradesman there. He supports my mother and stays with her. I was the oldest brother, so I became a soldier. I'm good at reading maps and tracking this as well. I'm not, truth be told, I'm not as good with the sword as most of the talents, but navigating about in these things, I excelled.
Well, you know what you're going to do now? You're going to help me fight vampires.
He nods kind of nervously. Stanislaus puts his hand on him. So, we have a conundrum. We are coming up on... It is almost 11:15. I don't know how much you want to... we'll wrap it. We're kind of coming into a big thing, so we can play a little bit more?
We can wrap it up if you want. We'll do you can give me the experience.
Yeah, let's do that, because what we'll be able to start at the beginning. We just finished the first chapter, knocking at death's door, and we are starting the second chapter as of next session, which would be gazing into the grave. So I'm excited about that. So I owe you some experience points. I got this stuff written down here.
Cool.
And I'm going to throw that up in the chat for you.
Let's see if I have I know I do. Just got to find where it's at. think I have it all here in the character sheet. What page, though? What page? Info. Yes, info. First tab. Oh no, this isn't up to date.
What isn't?
My experience in the
I thought I remember seeing you writing it down somewhere.
yeah. I just didn't update it on the character sheet in there.
Yeah, you did a really some great role playing tonight, dude. That was a really I love the focus on the goddess. Really effective. That was one of your most effective interrogations ever, I would say, as well. So
nice.
a couple people didn't make their one person didn't make their morale check, so that always helps. But you got a good way about you, Horrocks.
Hold on, gotta grab a book. Hold on. Oh, good boy. Why is he good boy?
So we got some exciting stuff coming up. I just threw up your XP in the chat, so let's
XP in the chat.
let's see where Horrocks Van Buzen. So Horrocks is currently, what level are you currently? You are
11.
11th level. So I think you still got a little ways to go before your 12th, but tonight is a huge mile marker for you, dude.
1 million experience points.
Wow, dude. Officially the most I've ever seen a genuine player character in my career as a player and a DM ever get to an honest 1 million experience points. Bravo. Well done.
Yay.
Such a huge accomplishment.
15,350.
Plus your 10%. I didn't add that in.
15,350. 5, 8, 8, 6, 1. So 16,885.
So I've been slacking on giving it to you at the end of every adventure. I was trying to do that for a while, so but you're less than 200,000 experience points away from being 12th level. And I promise you an exciting next session. Next session's gonna be a humdinger.
1 million. 16,800.
Oh, dude.
Really good. Really good.
Dude. Like 180,000 away from being 12th level and broke 1 million experience points. Cheers. Hey, cheers.
Cheers. Oh yeah, and I broke this new bourbon out tonight too, coincidentally. So
yeah, I'm drinking the good stuff tonight too. Got my Baker's number 7. That's to celebrate. Poured myself a glass of that. So
Baker's number 7.
Good stuff. Well done, Horrocks. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad. Thanks for being such a thoughtful role player. It was cool. Congratulations on 1,000,000 experience points, man. So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I can't wait till our next session and to really get into. I got some exciting second edition maps that I've put together. I've pulled directly from the module. I got a lot of. Next session's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to jam again. So thanks for being here tonight, man.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for doing it.
Great time. Great time. Congratulations again. See you next time.
Yes, sir.